Hard to, if I do too many, too much, it takes forever to upload and everything. All right, and Johnny Appleseed. You have Johnny Appleseed Day in September.
Johnny Appleseed is everywhere because Johnny Appleseed's one of these. He's the official folk hero for the state, but he's just somebody that nobody's ever written or said a bad word about. Mm-hmm. So he's legendary and Disney. Almost everybody's done a book or a segment or a song about Johnny Appleseed. But he was born here, lived. So there's a Johnny Appleseed Lane, Johnny Appleseed Plaza, Johnny Appleseed Visitor Center. There's a whole lot of. For a while, it was like everything is turning into Johnny Appleseed. But we have a big festival in the fall.
Yes, we heard about that.
Yeah, it's right outside here, but. We have everything Johnny Appleseed Lane. Everything is, Johnny Appleseed around here. And on our street signs, if you look, you'll see a little apple on our street signs.
Now, one other thing, when we went up to Johnny Appleseed Lane, we saw the war memorial for a gentleman.
Yeah,
and
that's where he lived.
Yes.
There's a little reenactment of what his house might have looked like while he was there. And they lived there, but if you look towards the front of the property, is the Nashua River, and that's where they probably fished and got a lot of their food. Johnny, we know, played in that area and played in the river and in the woods.
Yes, and the memorial for the PFC.
The memorial for Private Jonathan Roberge. He was killed in Iraq, 2009, and so his dad and a bunch of volunteers here and his family in the community got together, and there were others that were killed with him, and they're also honoring not only Jonathan but those that were killed with him, but also all the other veterans who were killed that served, that are from Massachusetts. So you see a tank down there right now. It's coming together.
It's beautiful. I mean, we saw we saw the pictures and everything. I actually posted pictures already of what it's going to look like and what it looks like now. And I think
and that sort of took the city by surprise. It had been the first person that had been killed in Iraq. We had several killed in Vietnam. But it had been a long time. So when that hit, that was sort of a big moment in sort of Lumber's history. And then this past year, Private Dufresne, who had been missing in action since Korea, his remains were identified and located and verified, and so his remains came back. So he's home.
Very nice.
So it was sort of a couple of interesting things related to military.
Yes. Well, we appreciate the time that you've talked to us and everything.
And,
we're going to head back up to the 2 and start heading. We're heading back towards Ohio.
Just get on the highway.
We stand and wherever the next ride takes us, whatever city.
That's cool.
We got a ride to this city, and we got out. I went to the Circle K. There was a lady parked there, and I asked her about the town, what she could tell me, and she was just telling me, Johnny Appleseed was from here. There's a nice memorial we'd like to check out and everything. And so,
did you see the one down here? Did you show him that one in the hall? Oh, come down here.
I really appreciate you taking some time out of your day.
That was done from a guy that came from, I want to say, Ohio, with a chainsaw, and he did Johnny Appleseed. In order to we left him outside. He was actually cut from a tree. And then we realized the weather was in New England was just starting to destroy him, so we ended up yanking him in. We took all that doorway out, and we brought him in, and this is where he stays.
Very nice. I've already posted pictures of that for my son.
Oh, you saw that?
Yes. So actually, when I came in, we came in that back door. Because I have an 8-year-old that dressed up like Johnny Appleseed this past year. He loves Johnny Appleseed. So
I'll show you this over here. This is so when industries were changing around here in Leominster, some people decided that they would get into the carriage manufacturing business. Their theory was that people would pay, if you built a really good quality carriage, that people would spend extra money, more than they typically did in a carriage that day, for something that had little amenities in it, like a little hatch here where you could put things in, and better springs, and just better built overall, that they would buy it. And remember, during the turn of the century, people having kids, and so it was something that you could buy and keep. And so what happened is they started to make these carriages, and it was done, how it was done is, it was done sort of like when they built Fords. So they made pieces in different buildings, and then they had a long assembly line, and then they would assemble all these things.
Oh, really?
And so this is called the Whitney carriage, and this carriage is known all over the world.
And
You see how old this is?
Yes. Do you? I was gonna say, do you know how old this one is itself?
I'm not sure that they have an actual date on this one, but you could actually take this out and use this thing today, and it's still like brand new, and it's never been touched.
It's amazing.
The brakes work on it, everything is original. Nobody's had to touch it. And so Whitney carriages were not only sold in the United States, but sold all over the world. People that were fluent and royalty have invested in these Whitney carriages. It's a fashionable thing. This was done by a local guy. He prints labels, and he actually does this as a hobby. And this is about 1,500 pieces, I believe. It's a couple thousand pieces, all individual. He glues them all together and then sands them all down. And it's a pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is very amazing. Very amazing.
This is the chair of the first mayor. That was 1915. He was Mayor Sawtell. He owned a little hardware store downtown. And then I don't know if you took pictures of this, but this is
not yet.
Johnny Appleseed's house.
And then what is this underneath?
That's City Hall. It's a replica that somebody made. Also in Leominster is Mr. Charpentier. He's 103 years old now. Mr. Charpentier used to work making prototypes in the plastic business. Mr. Charpentier retired and started making Christmas decorations out of scrap styrofoam. And I can show you a couple pieces that he's made. But so he would make these pieces, and then he started displaying them around his house. Every year he'd make one or two or whatever, and now people come from all over to see his styrofoam decorations that he makes all by hand. He goes into the schools, he makes little mice, and he shows the kids how the mice jump out, but he shows them all, they help make one, and he's a really talented guy.
Do you have any of his pieces here in City Hall?
We call him Mr. Christmas.